The House Intelligence Committee released its assessment regarding the FBI's mishandling of the 2017 congressional baseball shooting. The committee stated that the FBI's incomplete investigation and substandard analysis of that shooting, which harmed 4 people, including Congressman Steve Scalise, only increases concern that the agency was weaponized and misused. What are we to make of this report, and how can the FBI improve upon this glaring mistake and its tarnished reputation? Well, here to discuss this, Congressman Andrew Clyde, who serves on the House Appropriations Committee and the House Budget Committee. He represents the 9th Congressional District of Georgia. Congressman Clyde, welcome back to Washington Watch. I know you're just stepping off the House floor. The House is in vote, so I appreciate you joining us by phone.
Absolutely, Tony. Great to be with you. You're right. I just finished voting, and we've got another vote here coming up. So I appreciate the opportunity of chatting with you.
So what do we make of the House Intelligence Committee's assessment of the investigation of the 2017 shooting?
I think they're spot on. I mean, you know, when the FBI prematurely declared the case to be, quote, suicide by cop, you know, that to me has a negative political bent to it. That means that there were political determinations or that made up their decision and not actually the facts. You know, as I think one of my colleagues has said, the only obvious determination is that this was an act of domestic terrorism. And that's absolutely correct. The shooting at the baseball field in 2017 was an act of domestic terrorism. It was a Democrat trying to take out Republicans. And for the FBI not to call it what it is and to literally hold that information and obstruct a congressional hearing for 4 years was totally unacceptable. And it has led to the FBI's reputation being tarnished with the American people. I was with the newly confirmed director, Kash Patel, just a little earlier today. He had a hearing in Commerce, Justice, Science, our Appropriations Subcommittee. And I will tell you that I think Kash Patel, him being the new director, is the best thing that has happened to the FBI in the last decade, maybe 2 decades. So I think he's going to do a lot to restore the confidence of the American people in the FBI.
Well, that's saying a lot, Congressman, because a lot has to be done to restore the confidence of the American people in the FBI. I want to play a clip from that hearing. You were in that hearing. I want to play this clip of his exchange with Congresswoman Dean. Play clip number 3, please.
As you and the president continue to weaponize and investigate his perceived enemies, as you follow this blueprint, when can I, a former impeachment manager, expect the FBI at my door?
Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
you want to know what I'm doing to fix it?
That. Let me move on.
Well, you should read the
topics.
book because there's no enemies list on that book.
So
there are
you-
people that violated their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people,
That's good. You
and they
gave
were
them due
rightly
process.
called out.
I don't think she wanted to hear that response.
No, I remember that quite well. I was sitting there. You know, the other side always accuses us of doing what they are actually doing. You know, as an impeachment manager herself of a false and fake impeachment, she has the gall to say that. I mean, you know, it's one of the reasons why I love Kash Patel, because he was actually a victim of the weaponization of the government against him. And so he has even more reason to ensure that the FBI, as my exchange with him went, you know, upholds the rule of law and upholds those 4 words that you see above the Supreme Court: equal justice under law for all of us, you know. And we talked about, you know, the judge in Wisconsin and how even, you know, judges are subject to the rule of law as well.
Right.
And so I was very, very pleased with our exchange, and very pleased with Kash Patel. He's got a lot of work to do, like you said, and I reminded him of that. But he's committed to doing it for the good of the American people and the rule of law.
Congressman Clyde, let me ask you about that. What recommendations? I mean, I've got some recommendations. For one, they could stop using the Southern Poverty Law Center as a resource, which the FBI has done. They were a part of weaponizing the left. I mean, that they led to that. Their labeling of us led to an act of domestic terrorism at our facility in Washington. But what recommendations or actions are you suggesting to Director Patel?
Well, that one to stop using the Southern Poverty Law Center, I think is a phenomenal recommendation. And I did not actually give any specific recommendations to him because I want to give him a little bit of room. He's only been on board for about a couple of months as the director. But we will be watching Kash and Patel and seeing what he actually does. So I'm just excited that he's there and the fact that he's got Dan Bongino with him.
Let me move on to budgetary issues. You serve on the Budget Committee, so you're very well prepared to answer these questions. You were a part of the Fiscal State of the Nation hearing held by the House Budget Committee. There's concerns. I'm hearing reports that moderates do not want to roll back any of the Biden-era Medicaid expansions. How else do you get to the $1.5 trillion number that you need to get get the reconciliation package through?
Well, it's not just $1.5 trillion. I think we really need to be over $2 trillion. In fact, somewhere between 2.0 and $2.5 trillion. And there is no way that we get there without dealing with Medicaid. First off, we're going to definitely look at it for the waste, fraud, and abuse that is there, and there is a lot of it. I mean, the Government Accounting Office in its 2023 report said that there were over $50 billion annually, so $500 billion over the 10-year budget window, of misappropriated or incorrect payments. So, they're looking for $880 billion. Well, $500 billion of it could come straight off the top on Medicaid when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse. And then the other thing is this. Medicaid was originally designed for the folks that are low income, are senior citizens, are elderly, the disabled, the pregnant women. And now the greatest percentage of those people on Medicaid are actually those who are able-bodied adults that are not working. And the greatest match, the states get $9 for every $1 they invest in those folks, right. Where the original Medicaid folks really, it's only about, if they invest $4, the state does, then they'll get $6 from the federal government. It's about 60%. So, this greatest, what they call the expansion population, should not even be on Medicaid. They should be working.
But
so
this
there's got to be work requirements added to it.
Right. And this was something that was pushed through by the Biden administration in their expansion in the last 4 years. So why are Republicans hesitant to just go back and dial this back from prior to the Biden administration?
Well, I mean, you're right about about Obamacare. Obamacare broke Medicaid, but we are going to fix Medicaid, and we through work requirements and other means, we are going to make Medicaid stronger and more resilient in the future for those folks that actually need it, and not for the folks that are on it that don't need it and shouldn't be on it, like illegal aliens and able-bodied adults that refuse to work.
Do your colleagues realize that it will sink the whole ship if they don't throw off the dead weight that Medicaid is carrying?
Well, we have to deal with Medicaid. If we don't, we will see very soon, and I mean, between 3 and 9 years, we will see a sovereign debt crisis in this country. Yeah. It is absolutely true that the debt is our greatest internal threat. And if we don't deal with it and deal with it this year, then we will have shirked our responsibilities and we will not have done what the American people sent us here to do. So I believe, Tony, that we'll get there. I believe we'll get there, and I believe that we will strengthen Medicaid, all right, but we will also ensure that the waste, fraud, and abuse and those who shouldn't be on it are not on it. So I have confidence that we will get there.
Well, Congressman Clyde, I hope that your colleagues, all of your colleagues, share the urgency of understanding the significance of the debt that we're carrying, and now is the time. If we don't address it now, it's not going to be addressed. So I think you're absolutely right. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. Always great to have you on the program. Appreciate you joining us from the House floor today.
Thank you very much. Great to be on Washington Watch with you, Tony.
All right, Congressman Andrew Clyde.